Hi, Gomez. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, I'm good. How are you?
Excuse my voice. I'm kind of sick today.
Oh, what happened? Salamat.
Just lost my voice.
Okay. No problem. And may Allah give you a quick recovery, inshallah. Who was the student of the month for this, the month of March?
Neda.
Neda. Okay. Did she join?
Not yet.
Okay, great. We'll congratulate her once she joins, inshallah. Okay, only 8 attendees. Let me send a quick message on the group. Okay, great. We have 12 attendees, so let's get started. We were doing the topic gas exchange and respiration, ladies. So we'll be doing chapter 11.3 today, which is breathing movements, inshallah. So please open page number 147 from your textbooks. Okay. Let me know if Nada joins so that I can congratulate her. Is she in? No, she's not. All right, so let's get started, ladies. So let's start with the verse from the Quran, as we always do. And Allah has ordered us to speak kindly. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. So it's very, very important that we speak and treat people with kindness, be it our parents, our siblings, our friends, the people around you, because you not only are getting rewarded, that is a trait of the people of Jannah, and also in the worldly, from the worldly point of view, you get what you give. So if you're kind, people around you also will be kind to you. The objectives for the topic today would be to discuss about the breathing movements, which will also come under the structure and function of our gas exchange system, which is our lungs, how they work. So the core and the supplement objective would be to state the difference in composition between inspired and expired air, limited to oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. So I believe we did this last time, or we are about to do it today. And we'll discuss a few experiments which after we discuss about the breathing movements. All right. So under KWL, let me ask you questions from the content we covered last time. We were discussing about the various parts of our respiratory system, isn't it, ladies? Yeah. Okay, so we all know that obviously the human respiratory system consists of 2 lungs. So what are these tiny air pockets which increase the surface area of the lungs, ladies? What are they known as?
They're the alveoli.
Perfect. They are the alveoli wherein the gas exchange takes place. Okay, now. Can someone explain what is epiglottis and how it functions? Sarah?
It is a cartilage that's in between. It's basically above the voice box, which prevents food to be inhaled or going into the windpipe instead of the esophagus.
Perfect. Very well explained, Sarah. Thank you so much. As you can watch in this video, ladies, this is the function of the epiglottis. Nov, could you please tell me the function of the goblet cells? Nov, you there? Rawasan? Deetal, Nuralia, Dua Mustafa? Ladies, nobody wants to speak today. Why? Dua Mustafa? Anyone apart from Sarah who wants to answer this question? Arish Fatma, you can type in the chat box. Dana, Ghadir, Hiba Aftab, Jonah, Lamar, Lamir, one of the Mariams. Yes, ladies. Thala Mansoor. Thala Walid. You may just have to read out from the screen over here, ladies. I'm displaying it already. Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
So goblet cells are cells that secrete mucus for the so that they can capture bacteria or outside molecules from entering and invading the body. And the ciliated cells are those which beat around. They are in our nose. There are hairs in our nose that prevent dust particles from entering. And the ciliated cells are in our esophagus that trap bacteria and dust particles.
Perfect. Very well explained, Sarah. Thank you so much. All right, ladies. So these are the functions of the mucus, which is produced by the goblet cells and the hair cells, the epithelial, the ciliated epithelial cells, which line the trachea and also the bronchi, which help in trapping the microorganisms and bacteria, as just now Sarah mentioned. Now, the next organ is the tracheae, as you can see in this picture, which is the tube-like structure, otherwise known as windpipe, which carries the oxygen down the thorax region, and from there the trachea, it breaks into two bronchi, right? And the bronchi, they further break into bronchioles, and the bronchioles, they have at the end of each bronchiole the tiny air sacs or pockets which are present are known as alveoli. As you can see in this picture, this is the place where the gas exchange takes place. So this is a microscopic picture of how the alveoli looks like and how the blood capillaries, they leave carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen from the alveoli. Can someone explain this picture over here, ladies, as to what's happening over here? Yes, Arish Fatima has explained this better. The breathe through our nose, because the structure of the nose allows the air to become warm, and hairs in the nose trap dust particles in the air. Yes, Arish Fatima, very well explained. Thank you so much. Yes, who can explain this picture, ladies? What's going on here? Again, you can see the microscopic structure of the lungs where an alveoli are present and how the gas exchange takes place in the alveoli. We discussed about all this last time, isn't it, Sarah?
Yes, miss, we did. We stopped here.
We stopped here, or did we discuss these two, or no?
We discussed that.
We discussed. According to me, we stopped here, and we are about to start the breathing movements. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Let me go through it again quickly. So this is how the gas exchange takes place in the lungs. This is the microscopic picture of the alveoli. And here you can see the gas exchange takes place. These are the RBC, which pick up oxygen and leave carbon dioxide in the alveoli. And this is possible because the alveoli, they are only one cell thick. They are very thin, allowing the gas exchange to take place like this. And here you can see how the gas exchange takes place in an alveoli. Ladies, you can see the carbon dioxide diffuses out to the blood cells and oxygen is diffused in. Clear, ladies, so far? Any doubts or questions before we move ahead? Okay then. So let's start discussing about the breathing movements. We are on page number 146 and 147. Ladies, you have the same picture in your textbook as well. So you can see this is how your chest rises and falls when you're breathing, isn't it? If you could put your hand on your chest and feel the movements of your chest rising and falling when you're breathing. You're taking in air and you're inhaling and exhaling the air. isn't it? So to make air more in and out of the lungs, you must keep changing the volume of your thorax. Now what is the thorax? The area which is present from your trachea till your rib bones is known as the thorax. First, you make it large so that air is sucked in. Then you make it smaller again so the air is squeezed out. This process of breathing in, sucking in air and letting out air out of our body is known as breathing. So muscles in two parts of the body help you to breathe. Some of them, called the intercostal muscles, are present between the ribs. So this is how your rib cage looks like, ladies. So these are your intercostal muscles, the muscles which are present in between your ribs. Okay, so these intercostal muscles, they run between the ribs and help form and move the chest wall. So these are responsible for the movement of this chest wall. And the intercostal muscles are mainly involved in the mechanical aspect of breathing. Okay, so the movement of your rib cage during breathing is because of these intercostal muscles. These muscles, they help expand and shrink the size of the chest cavity to facilitate breathing. Understood? So these intercostal muscles which are present in between the ribs, these red ones over here, these are responsible for the increase in the size of your chest cavity and also shrinking of the chest cavity. And the second type of muscles are known as the diaphragm. Now we all know the diaphragm is responsible for the breathing function, right? The diaphragm is a large sheet of muscle and elastic tissue which is present beneath your rib cage, which stretches across your body underneath the lungs and the heart over here. Alright, ladies, so this diaphragm and the intercostal muscles which are present in between the ribs are responsible for the breathing movements in your body. Okay, so this is how your diaphragm works. Let me explain about the inspiration, which is inhaling of the air, and expiration, which is known as the exhaling of the air. So during inspiration and expiration, the movements of the diaphragm, they are quite opposite to each other. When you're inhaling air, what happens is when you're breathing in, the muscles of the diaphragm, they contract like this. Okay, then this pulls the diaphragm downwards, which increases the volume in the thorax. In order for the lungs to fill in with as much air as possible, the diaphragm is moving downwards. At the same time, the external intercostal muscles, they contract. Then this pulls the rib cage upwards and outwards, expanding the chest cavity. This also increases the volume of your thorax. As the volume of the thorax increases, the pressure inside it falls below the atmospheric pressure. Then extra space has been made and something must come in to fill it up, isn't it? Which is the oxygen. Air therefore rushes in along the trachea and bronchi into the lungs. So this is how your lungs are filled with air when you're inhaling or during inspiration. So these are the three steps, ladies. Step 1, the diaphragm is lowered. Step 2, the rib cage is raised and expanded. Step 3, the volume of the thorax increases, so air is drawn into the lungs. Clear, ladies, about this? Any doubts or questions? Is it clear? Sarah, Rawasin, North, Nuralia, is it clear so far?
It is clear to me.
Yes, Hiba, is it clear?
Yes.
Thank you. You have the same pictures on your page number 147 in your textbook, ladies. Now let's check out what happens during expiration, meaning exhaling back the carbon dioxide out of your body. Now when breathing out, the muscles of the diaphragm, they relax. The diaphragm springs back up into its dome shape because it is made up of elastic tissue. So this is what happens when you are exhaling out. Then this decreases the volume of the thorax now, and the external intercostal muscles, they also relax, and the rib cage drops down again into its normal position. This also decreases the volume of the thorax, pushing the carbon dioxide out of your lungs. Okay, step 1, the diaphragm springs up, in contrast to the diaphragm pulling down in our inspiration. In step 2, you can see the rib cage is lowered in contrast to the rib cage, which is raised in our inspiration. Similarly, in step 3, you can see the volume of the thorax decreases, obviously, so the air is forced out of the lungs like this. Clear, ladies? So this is what happens when you're breathing out or exhaling the air in contrast to the inhalation. Is it clear, ladies? Any doubts or questions so far? Yes, ladies, is it clear?
Yes, teacher, all clear.
Thank you, Rawasan. All right, ladies. So usually the relaxing the external intercostal muscles and the muscles of the diaphragm is all that is needed for breathing out. So we can say these two muscles are involved for the breathing movements, which is our intercostal muscles and our diaphragm. All right. Yes. So sometimes, though you breathe out more forcefully when coughing, for example, then the internal intercostal muscles, they contract strongly, making the rib cage drop down even further. So the muscles of the abdominal wall also contract, helping to squeeze extra air out of the thorax. These are exceptions when you're coughing loudly or when you're sneezing also. There is with force you're bringing out the air, then the rib cage is dropped down further, but otherwise this is the normal mechanism which takes place. So let's watch this video now.
Miss?
Yes.
Does it have an audio or it's just like...
No, it doesn't have an audio, Heba. So you can see the chest rising and falling like this. Do you see? This is the rising of the chest, filling with air. This is the falling of the chest. Can you see it, ladies? So you are inhaling now, and now you're exhaling. Inhaling. So what happens when you're inhaling? You can see your chest raise like this. This is the picture from back as to how your chest rises and falls, ladies. Clear? Any questions so far?
No, thank you, teacher. All clear.
All clear? Is it clear now? Okay, thank you, Arich.
Yes.
Thank you, Rawasan. All right, can someone read out the information from this slide? The differences between respiration, gas exchange and breathing, ladies, because all three are related to your respiratory system, but each one of them is different. So you should not get confused and use the terms differently when you're answering the questions. So you need to use the terms wherever required, depending upon this difference. Who wants to read out?
Yes, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Respiration. A series of chemical reactions which happen in all living cells in which food is broken down to release energy, usually by combining with oxygen. The gas exchange of gases across a respiratory surface. For example, oxygen is taken into the body and carbon dioxide is removed from it. As gas exchange also takes place during photosynthesis and respiration of plants. Breathing. Muscular movements which keep the respiratory surface supplied with oxygen.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hiba. Alright ladies, so this is the difference between respiration, gas exchange and breathing. When we are talking about breathing, we are only talking about the muscular movements which keep the respiratory surface supplied with oxygen, which is inhaling and exhaling. But when you're talking about respiration, we are talking about a series of chemical reactions which happen in all the living things in which food is broken down to release energy, usually by combining with oxygen. So this is the equation of respiration which we discussed with the oxygen. When it combines with glucose, it gives rise to energy, and carbon dioxide and water are released during this process, isn't it? While talking about gas exchange, it is the exchange of gases across a respiratory surface, which is the alveoli. For example, oxygen is taken into the body and carbon dioxide is removed from it. So gas exchange can take place during photosynthesis and the respiration of the plants as well. And the gas exchange happens in humans and plants both. Clear, ladies? Any doubts or questions? All clear so far?
Yes, teacher, all clear.
Okay, thank you. Rawasan, could you please read out the slide? Thank you, Rich.
Oxygen, inspired air 21%, expired air 16%. Reason for difference. Oxygen is absorbed across the gas exchange surface then used by cells in respiration. Carbon dioxide, inspired air 0.04%, expired air 4%. Reason for difference. Carbon dioxide is made inside respiring cells that diffuses out across the gas exchange surface. Argon and other noble gases. Inspired air 1%, expired air 1%. Water content, humidity. Inspired air variable. Expired air always high. Reason. Gas exchange surfaces are made of living cells, so must be kept moist. Some of this moisture evaporates into the air. Temperature. Inspired air variable. Expired air always warm. Reason. Air is warmed as it passes through the respiratory passages.
Thank you so much, Rawasan. Alright ladies, so here you can see the composition of the inspired and the expired air as Rawasan just now read about. So this is the difference between oxygen, carbon dioxide and other gases, and also a little moisture, which is water content in the inspired and the expired air. And you can also see the temperature difference between the inspired and expired air. Understood, ladies? Any doubts or questions related to this slide? You have the same table, both these tables you have on your page number 148, ladies. You may go through them. If you have any questions, you can ask me or we can move further. Any doubts or questions so far?
No, thank you. All clear.
Alright, ladies. Now let's discuss about this little test, the lime water test, to check for carbon dioxide in your breath. Okay, so as we did this test even earlier, so what do we use in order to check the carbon dioxide presence? We use the lime water, isn't it? So lime water test we are doing to check for carbon dioxide in your breath, to investigate the differences in composition between inspired and expired air. The lime water can be used because it changes color when the gas is bubbled through from colorless to milky. So in the presence of carbon dioxide, the lime water has a tendency to turn white and milky. So that is why we are using lime water for this test in order to check the presence of carbon dioxide. So there is more carbon dioxide present in the expired air. It makes the lime water change color more quickly than the inspired air, proving that the expired air contains carbon dioxide, whereas the inspired air is oxygen, right? If we are breathing out oxygen, then obviously the lime water will not change color, but because we are breathing out carbon dioxide, proving that this lime water is changing milky white due to its reaction with the carbon dioxide. Clear, ladies? So let's also watch this quick video. See how the girl is bubbling the carbon dioxide via the straw into this water over here. You can also try this experiment at home, ladies. You can take lime water in a transparent glass or a mug, and you can keep on blowing carbon dioxide from your mouth via a straw into that beaker or a glass or anything. So after some time, you can see the lime water, it reacts with the carbon dioxide and it starts changing color, as you can see in this picture. Do you see the reaction taking place? Slowly, the water it changes to milky white.
I'm sorry, miss, but all I could feel is the anxiety that she's going to accidentally suck the water.
Yeah, of course. But it is just lime water which you have, even if she's sucking it in, it will not cause her any harm. Yeah?
Yeah. Thank God for that, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, finally it turned milky white. Before, this is how the water looks like, and this is after. Let's also go through the equations over here. So it is CaOH2 plus carbon dioxide. So this is the lime water, the lime which is present in it, which is, I believe, calcium oxide, plus carbon dioxide. It leads calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3, plus water. So due to the conversion of this calcium oxide to calcium carbonate, when it combines with carbon dioxide, that is why it turns to milky white, and that is why the color change. Wait, we have other equations also, isn't it? Right. So this is the change, and at the end also they showed an equation, is it? Let me check. Okay, got it, ladies? So because of the conversion of calcium oxide to calcium carbonate, you can see the change in color. So you can see again in the various test tubes, the carbon dioxide turns lime water cloudy. This you cannot conduct the experiment without the presence of calcium oxide, which is present in the lime water. So carbon dioxide plus calcium hydroxide, which is lime water, it gives rise to calcium carbonate plus water. CO2 plus CaOH2 gives rise to CaCO3 plus H2O. This is the equation, ladies. You can see the lime water gradually changing to milky white here. Now, let's discuss about the last subtopic for this chapter, which is exercise and breathing rate. We are on page number 149 from your textbook, ladies. So all the cells in your body, they need oxygen for respiration, and all of this oxygen is supplied by the lungs. Obviously, whether you're inhaling via your nose or your mouth, the oxygen, it reaches your lungs, and of course, each and every cell in your body, it needs oxygen. Now, the oxygen is carried by the blood to every part of the body, as we discussed in our circulatory system. Sometimes the cells may need a lot of oxygen very quickly. When do they need it very quickly, ladies? Rawasan or Sarah? When do our cells need a lot of oxygen very quickly?
During anaerobic respiration, during vigorous exercise.
Perfect. When we are doing vigorous exercise, as we discussed earlier, our cells, they need a quick supply of oxygen. Now imagine you're running in a race, you're taking part in a marathon. The muscles in your legs are using up a lot of energy, isn't it? So the cells in the muscles will be combining oxygen with glucose as fast as they can to release energy for muscle contraction, isn't it? So a lot of oxygen is needed to work as hard as this. As we discussed, if the oxygen is not provided, then what happens, ladies? What is produced during this time, during anaerobic respiration? Yes, Sarah?
I'm sorry, my internet lagged. Could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, what is produced during anaerobic respiration in our body?
Lactic acid and carbon dioxide.
Yeah, lactic acid, which could be harmful to us. So if the cells are not supplied with immediate supply of oxygen, so though we are breathing very, very faster, though our lungs are pumping faster, but still the amount of oxygen which we are breathing is not enough, because our muscles are working really hard during this time. Okay, so a lot of oxygen is needed to work as hard at this time, and you breathe deeper and faster to get more oxygen into your blood. Your heart, it beats faster to get the oxygen to the leg muscles as quickly as possible. But eventually a limit is reached. You cannot provide or supply your leg muscles with the oxygen even after breathing so much faster. So the heart and the lungs, they cannot supply to the muscles any faster, but more energy is still needed for the race. So how can that energy be found? By anaerobic respiration. So during this time, what happens is the cells, they need immediate energy. So they respire anaerobically even without the presence of oxygen. And during this time, the lactic acid is produced, isn't it? So extra energy can be produced by anaerobic respiration, as we discussed earlier. Some glucose is broken down without combining it with oxygen. But during this process, though energy is released, lactic acid is also produced during this process. The glucose, it is broken down to lactic acid plus little energy, isn't it? So as you know, this is masked over here. Give me a moment while I fix the slide.
Sasima?
Yes?
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but Rawasin said in the chat that she can no longer see your screen, and she's asked if she could leave and rejoin.
Yes, please. Please ask her to leave and rejoin. Did she leave? Alright. So as you know that this does not release very much energy. The amount of energy which is released during anaerobic respiration is very, very less compared to the aerobic respiration, isn't it? But a little extra might make all the difference. But what all you need during that time when you're running is you need energy, though it is little. So when you stop running, then you will have quite a lot of lactic acid in your muscles and your blood. Yeah, so this energy which has been released due to anaerobic respiration produces lactic acid, which immediately needs to be removed from your body. Otherwise, it could be fatal. So that is why after maybe you've won the race due to this, then it would definitely counteract it. So after that, you sit for some time and you still are gasping for air and you are still continuously breathing and your heart is pumping for another 7 or 8 minutes so that your oxygen levels are brought back to normal. As we discussed, your oxygen debt is paid off and the lactic acid is removed from your body. So this lactic acid, it must be broken down by combining it with oxygen, yeah, which is aerobic respiration in the liver. So even though you do not need the energy anymore, you go on breathing faster and more deeply and your heart rate continues to be high for another 7 or 8 minutes. Even after you stop running or stop vigorous exercise, you're still breathing faster. Why? In order to pay off the oxygen debt, in order to break down this lactic acid which has been produced during this anaerobic respiration. So you are taking in and transporting extra oxygen to break down the lactic acid now, and the faster heart rate also helps to transport lactic acid as quickly as possible from the muscles to the liver, from where it could be broken down. Okay, so while you were running, you built up an oxygen debt and you borrowed some extra energy without paying for it with oxygen. So now as the lactic acid is combined with oxygen, you're paying off the debt. You're bringing back the oxygen levels in your body to normal. Not until all the lactic acid has been used up does your breathing and heart rate again is returned to normal. So for normal healthy people, it might take 7 to 8 minutes for you to bring back your oxygen rate to normal in order to pay off the oxygen debt. But again, if you have any medical condition and if your age is more, it might take a longer time. Maybe you might the recovery time for you to come back to normal, maybe 15 minutes, for some people 20 minutes, depending upon their health condition. Clear? Are you following me, ladies? We did this already in this topic when we were discussing about oxygen debt. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher, all clear.
Thank you, Rawasan. So the rate at which your breathing muscle work and therefore your breathing rate is controlled by your brain. So the brain constantly monitors the pH of the blood that flows through it. So if there is a lot of carbon dioxide or lactic acid in the blood, this causes the pH to fall. So this is again the homeostasis comes into action. The homeostasis has to be maintained, which is the stable body conditions have to be maintained. So as soon as the blood pH level falls down below the normal pH level due to the production of this lactic acid and carbon dioxide, your brain, it gets the signal immediately. So the brain signals your heart to pump faster, for your respiratory system to respire more oxygen so that these lactic acid could be broken down and removed from your body so that the pH of your blood could be brought back to normal. So when the brain senses this, it sends nerve impulses to the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles, stimulating them to contract harder and more often, breathing in more faster. So this results in faster breathing rate and deeper breaths. Clear, ladies? So this is what happens when you're exercising, and this is why you are breathing faster when you're exercising in order to provide your muscles with extra oxygen. And though you're breathing faster, you cannot provide, so your cells are provided with energy anaerobically, and after that the lactic acid which is produced is removed from your body by breathing continuously faster even after you stop exercising for about 7 to 8 minutes. Clear so far, ladies? Any doubts or questions? All clear, my dears?
Yes, all clear.
Okay, great. So it's 12:54. So we'll discuss about the effects of smoking in our next class, inshallah, and we'll wrap up this topic. That is the last topic from this chapter, ladies. So let me quickly assign you homework. The last time we did page number 146, till question 11.10. So today, that's it. After this, we only have the end of the chapter questions. We discussed the activities which are mentioned on page number 149 already. You may also repeat those activities at home if you want to. So now the homework would be textbook page number 151, the end of the chapter questions. All right, ladies, for the ones who already submitted the homework, fine. For the ones who did not, may submit the previous questions as well as the end of the chapter questions. Clear, ladies? So this would be your homework. You will submit it over the weekend, ladies. Solve these and submit it over the weekend. Any doubts or questions? Let me send a screenshot of this on your group. All right, then let me download the attendance. Yeah, it's 24 attendees. Yes, Hiba, after you have a question? Hiba? Okay, then ladies, have a wonderful day and also a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your weekend, relax, and come back fresh next week, inshallah. Take care, bye-bye. You may leave the
Thank you,
session.
Miss. Have a nice day.
You too, sweetie. Thank you.